for me personally, I'm 5.5, 6 months into my new role as CEO of PhD. And I came in at exactly the moment where it became a really critical thing for how OMG is actually starting to kind of orchestrate our underbelly. Our agency is a platform built on Omni, but uniquely want the agencies to have their own point of view, have their own way of going to market, have their own way that they basically use the data, the capabilities, the apps, the tools, to really start to engineer towards like, what do we as a PhD do with all of these things, and how do we engineer that for the outcomes and the results that we're kind of pushing for our clients? And so, agency as a platform to me is like it's liberating, right? From a new CEO standpoint, because the idea is I can reach into all the amazing parts of Omnicom, right? For any client that basically like we are trying to create a solution for that has some sort of challenge. But the idea is I can orchestrate it through the lens of like how PhD goes to market and what makes us unique. And so I do love where we're at right now and kind of this, I would say, collective journey that we're on in this space right now, which is it is about how do you engineer all the best pieces through the lens of what that kind of agency means and that overall kind of heritage and the capability that we have to really create the outcomes for our clients.
Because it's been interesting. There's been a lot of changes recently on the broader agency level, not just media agencies, with mergers and names being eliminated. And there's a thought that maybe do these brands matter anymore? But it seems like you were definitely bullish on this being important, these unique cultures and structures.
1,000%. I think, and it's interesting. I think we are towing a really critical balance, and I think exactly what you're saying. So I think there's a push on one end of the spectrum where you have a ton of consolidation in this space. I grew up inside of a creative agency, so that worked really tightly in with a media agency. And I think you do have this push to say, let's kind of combine and merge all the forces and kind of create like a one solution type of thing. And I still think that you have on the other end of that spectrum still, other agencies, other holding companies that are kind of the sum of the parts, right? And so they're just trying to like orchestrate it and pull it together, and it's almost like a puppet master thing. I think we are squarely in the center in the sense of you can still have all the best parts of the platform, right? And how we use Omni and all those things that basically link it together and kind of creates that media and creative story that kind of pulls it all together. But at the same time, we're pulling all the best parts, right, from inside of Omnicom. So I do think we're bullish on it. And it's working. I think we've had some new business success recently, and that is their articulation of kind of how we're going to market. And so our clients are telling us like we're doing the right thing, and we're pushing in the right place.
You came up through this business through digital. You're seeing this with CTV in particular, this like a collision of heritage and philosophies going on. What's that been like to observe, and where do you think that is headed?
I love where we're at, because I think I've seen a couple of generations of like things happen in our space. To your point, I grew up as a kind of a digital strategist, digital buyer, and very much the same hurdles and same challenges we had, like some of the privacy things, and really being comfortable with like people and what they would share on social media platforms. And then what people are doing on mobile phones, 10 years ago, and is that going to be something that is going to create hesitation or some limitation in terms of where we're going from an advertising standpoint? I think what's really fascinating right now is we are clearly on the cusp of the next generation of kind of how this is all going to kind of come together. And say what you want about AI, say what you want about kind of where data capability and how that's really going to start to come to life, and truly personalization. Enablement of those technologies is going to be revolutionary. And so I'm super excited because I've seen this. It's a different film, but I've seen kind of that same trajectory, I would say, of all this technology kind of capability and all the things that are happening. And so I just think as we push into 2024, thinking about the personalization that's going to impact the video industry overall, what CTV is going to unlock, really how smart, hopefully, video advertising is going to get at some point, right? For us to really be able to kind of put our money where our mouth is, in the sense of really connecting with the right consumer, with the right message, and having that deliver some sort of business performance. It's never been more real, And so that to me it's a game changer. It's exciting. I hope to skip some of the errors that I think we've taken in the past, because we've kind of seen some of these things kind of play out. But it's fascinating. I think what we're on the cusp of right now.
bringing those smarts to video advertising, you're right. It's been. There's a lot of hope. It's very early, but what is maybe holding that up from coming to fruition as quickly as we'd like?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I think we talk about. I wouldn't say that it hasn't. I feel like it has happened fairly quickly, right? I mean, we are seeing the investment kind of move that direction. So all the proof points are there that it's like it's building the right direction and that it's coming to fruition. I think the piece that maybe is holding it back is that balance that brands currently have in the sense of what's worked in the past versus what's going to kind of like change the trajectory of what they're doing moving forward. And so I think that's actually a great thing for agencies because it puts us at the kind of the crossroads of, how do we enable brands to really think about where that kind of future growth is going to come from? And if you start to really think about leading with audiences, leading with personalization, leading with kind of all the capabilities and all the things that are now started growing on the video side, it should have an impact significantly on their business. So I do think that we're on the cusp of something, but I don't think we should ignore how much it's actually grown and how great of a kind of trajectory that's kind of created in the space.
Lastly, on the brand side, you mentioned this. Have you seen the same kind of trajectory or new blood come in with folks that came up through the data-driven, performance, maybe more performance-oriented, sort of part of the business now are in big leadership roles, and is that changing what you're seeing in the marketing world?
Yeah, I think I love that most, and I think that's what has kept me inside of the agencies for years and years and years. I started I started a creative shop, but I mean I started really this trajectory that I'm on right now inside of OMD in 2004, right? So I look back 19 years and 20 years, and there weren't a lot of folks that were like me. It was very much like I was the digital guy. I was kind of like a part-time IT guy. I kind of had a lot of hats I had to wear in the agency. And was probably more, really, I think if you asked a traditional kind of like buyer at that point or a traditional strategist, they'd be like, oh, that's our digital performance guy or whatever else, right? And I think that now what's happening is now that folks like myself that have been in agencies have started to kind of like elevate to certain roles inside of it. We now are thinking about how we construct our model, how we construct our teams. And, my vision is very different than kind of what sat inside the agencies 20 years ago, right? So I do love the idea, and we believe in this strongly inside of PhD, is it is about the right skill set. It is about putting them in a place where they basically are going to either succeed because of their past experience or be put in a situation where they're going to grow into something that's going to kind of create something that we know is going to make an impact on our clients. And I think it's never been more exciting. As I said, we've had a couple of new business wins here recently. Building those teams has been one of my favorite moments in my whole career, because what the clients want is like exactly what we've all kind of dreamed of in advertising. So it's like overemphasis on like analytics and measurement and really kind of how we build audiences and how we think about kind of outcomes, and like you're no longer kind of constrained. It's like you're able to kind of put all the right pieces together, and performance. Who knows? Like it's like performance is always going to be critical, but everyone's going to be a performance marketer or a performance kind of agency person. So I think we're pushing the boundaries even on kind of those traditional kind of divides.